Hey team, before we jump into this week's episode, I just want to do a quick little apology. This has been a little bit late coming. My main editing computer has died and is in the shop, so this episode is probably going to be a little bit different, a little bit jankier. All the assets are kind of gone, so the thumbnail is probably going to look weird and that kind of thing, as well as some like big changes in my personal life too. But hopefully everything's kind of simmered down a wee bit now. I'm getting used to like putting things out back again regularly. Hopefully some YouTube content too once things kind of really settle in, as well as more guests like this week's guest Tom. So let's crack on, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Hi, this is Kit from MinorConflict, and you are listening to the Vox feed where we sit around and talk shit about the game that we love. Today with me, I have Alan.
Hi.
And Tom.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about some 40k. Hi, guys.
Hello. It's been a while.
It's been a little while. How's everyone's lives?
It's been good. I had a busy weekend. I had a airsoft 36-hour event. So camping out in the woods, shooting people. We got our shit pushed in. But in every contact. But apparently we played the mission better and actually won the event overall. So
Hey!
play the mission.
Play the mission. There you go.
Hey, that sounds like a segue.
That almost sounds like a segue. What about you, Tom? How you been, man?
Yeah, good. Been working on getting this No Surrender event going, which has been more work than I thought, but it's been real fun actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a segue. We're going to do a little bit of news talk, not that there's much to cover. It's been pretty quiet
It has been pretty quiet.
out in 40k world. And then Alan's got a wee competitive update to give us. And then after that, we're going to have a wee chat with Tom here, who is organising his first tournament. So we thought we'd ask him some questions about the process and how it's all going and any tips that he might have to share.
People might want to run their own tournaments, like us.
Yeah, like us, who have been wanting to and just too lazy to get off their asses and do it.
Exactly. I like to say too busy, but...
Too busy, for sure. So in the news, there has been almost nothing. It's been so quiet, and the hype train's kind of died a little bit.
The hype train's still been, retired.
Yeah, it's gone back to station, hey.
I think after they said that it would be October for all the codexes, everyone was like,
A little bit of deflation, maybe, hey. Yeah.
By all the
Just a little
codexes, they
bit.
mean 2 codexes.
Yeah, the first two.
yeah.
The big ones. The
Space Marine, which is in GW's world, all. But
Yeah. I'm real excited to see what reanimation protocol's going to bring in.
yeah, I'm really curious to see what
I
changes.
can't wait.
Speaking of which, hopefully we will find out this weekend,
Yes.
which is super exciting. So on the 12th at 1 a.m. for us, but at more reasonable hours for people who live in other countries, we're going to have the big reveal for the first 2 codexes, and hopefully there will be some leaks, and then we might actually have something to talk about.
Yes, but just gotta wait.
We gotta wait. Any rampant speculation you guys would like to share? I have one bit.
What's that?
I think Marines are going to be real good.
I think Marines are gonna be ridiculously good.
No way.
I heard rumors that they were toning down Space Marines with this codex, but I don't believe that for a second.
They literally put an article out 2 weeks ago about ways to kill Space Marines, and I think they're trying to prepare us for something.
Exactly.
You know it's bad when they say the way to kill Space Marines is to go buy some Space Marines.
Pretty much, hey. You gotta get them veterans, man. Those Blade guys. Speaking of that article, they also put another one up. This is the top 5 take and hold specialists in the game. According to GW. And the first one is Orc Boys, which I was quite surprised to see.
I mean, if you have enough boys on an objective, they are hard to move, even with the blast templates and stuff.
Even with the lack of blast.
Oh, sorry, not the blast templates, but blast keywords. Because I think there's been a sort of shift. People don't think people are going to take hordes because blast is a thing, so people don't bring blast.
Yeah, the anti-meta, right?
Exactly.
If you're expecting to fight lots of vehicles and you just show up with 180 boys.
Suddenly, I don't have enough shots for this.
Yeah.
We also
Pretty
think as well, like a lot of those blast weapons and stuff like that, it's not like every second weapon in the game is blast. And a lot of the ones that are not necessarily teched for killing loads of boys. If you're Imperial Guard and you got battle cannons, sure, you can kill a bunch of boys, but you're still only killing like 6 or 7 with one battle cannon shot, 2d6 shots with 12 shots or whatever.
Yeah. Because you still got to hit and you still have to wound.
Still got to wound, they still get their saves.
Yeah.
Yep.
The reason they put them in here, I guess, is because they have a couple of stratagems. They can bonus their save up and they can mob up, right? And I think mob up's the real keeper.
It's also they take the leadership of how many surrounding boys around them. I can't remember the exact rules for it.
Yeah, I can't remember how that shit works.
And Green
we
Tide.
don't even know if it's going to work the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah, Green Tide is very interesting, hey?
Yeah.
I think particularly powerful that like obsec and like in moving fast seems to be real critical in ninth. And that's like one of the reasons why Custodians are doing so well is every unit's just obsec. So they can just snatch that off any elites and stuff like that. Just move up, grab the objective, and then they're just hard to move.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different ways of achieving that, and the way orcs have got is just to put a load of bodies on, right?
Yeah, I'm really interested. I know there's the Necron dynasty, and there's also Space Wolves had it for like all of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Where you can just make your whole army obsec. I think there's
that was clearly an error.
I mean, orcs have one that all infantry models have obsec.
Yeah. The Necron
wow.
one's the same, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why
Which is-
commandos are really good.
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even like Meganobs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
little 3-man blobs because they're cheap as chips.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You check those 3 mans in that body of 30 boys.
Yeah.
Suddenly you have like too many hard things to move.
Too many hard things to move. I'm into it, eh? I think it's pretty rad. And it also makes the interesting point about that is your characters become obsec too.
That is true, yes.
So you can just hide a character behind a big fat screen and he'll obsec for you all day. Although if you're hiding behind a screen, why do you need obsec in the first
Because the screen's obsec.
Yeah. Kind of self-defeating. But interesting stuff. Also loot it, which is the greatest stratagem in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if we need to say anything about that. I just think it's really great. Funnily enough, Alan's got a little tournament update thing that he's doing in a little minute.
Yeah.
This unit and the next one both featured pretty heavily.
Yes.
In that.
In the top 2 armies.
Yeah. So the next one is the Plague Bearers, which is
Yeah. I mean discussing the resilience with a 5-up invulnerable, and then a 5-up feel no pain on top of that, which I think can be improved.
yeah, especially that press point, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I think this is something that improves the invulnerable saves now, if I'm not mistaken. Something
Going
with
to a 4+.
yeah, something with Nurgle
That
demons.
whole thing
So,
about
Poxbringers.
demons and and stratagems.
No, this is Plague Bearers.
Can you improve the invulnerable save? I thought that was for like the demon engines.
I can't
get-
recall. I'm
Yeah.
You can give them disgusting.
I know so little about chaos. All I know is how to shoot them.
I thought it was there's a psychic power that gives you +1 to your demon save, isn't that right? But it goes
There's
across
Warp
book,
Surge.
so you have to like bring in
Yeah,
this
Warp
guy from
Surge.
Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, Warp Surge is what's called.
Also, a stratagem. It's so you can improve their invulnerable save by 1, but you can't re-roll any of your saves,
Yeah,
which is fine if it's just a mess of bodies.
what do you care about? These are all, funny enough, all of these were ones that we kind of like saw quite early on in 7th before the
Yeah.
meta kind of shifted away from
Yeah.
them, which is kind of interesting. The next one's Bulgrins. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Bulgrins.
I mean,
Yeah,
Bulgrins are Bulgrins.
they're just good. They've just been good for ages, eh?
They're good.
Yeah,
You
they're
need
just tough.
in 9th you need things that can bully people off objectives and then hold it themselves, and Bulgrins are that.
Yeah, and they're real difficult to bully around too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty
I'm not
gnarly either way.
Yeah, I'm not an Imperial Guard expert, but it seems like if you're an Imperial Guard player and you're not taking Brogans, you're just disadvantaging yourself. Like they've just got all the things required to be good in 9th.
Yeah.
Even though they're showing them with the Ripper cannon, I think is, but you should never take that with your Bulgrin. They should always have their clubs.
Yeah, the clubs are great, hey.
Yeah.
The 2-up or the 4-up? The 2-up or the 4-up?
I honestly don't know. I think the invulnerable save is generally the way people go.
Because you're a stack of wounds and you got the toughness.
Exactly, and there's ways you can improve the save.
The psychic power, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So that
and
gives
then
plus
shroud them as well.
Because that gives +1 to both. Real interesting change though for 9th is that when you start taking wounds, when you allocate wounds to that model, you must keep allocating them to the phase, because it used to be the case that you could be like, oh, you shouldn't be with AP0. Cool, I'm going to put that on my 2-ups. Oh, you shouldn't be with AP4. Cool, I'm going to put that on the 3-up invuln. And now you can't. Now you can't, right?
Spaceballs are feeling pretty sour about that.
Exactly. I mean, it actually doesn't affect many armories outside of Space Marines because no one actually
has that many storm shields, right?
not that way to manipulate a
Unit
save
optimization.
on one thing.
Yeah.
Eldar have 1 or 2 units that can do that, and
Shining Spears?
Yeah, Shining Spears is the one of the 2 I can think of.
Guardian squads.
Yeah. So there's 3. There's the Dire Avengers, the Guardians, and the Shining Spears are the only ones I can think of which have different save levels within a squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel real bad for the Wolfen.
Yeah.
He's that first boy with the 4-up save. He's gone straight away.
I mean, this is also a huge nerf for what? Death Guard? Not Death Guard. Death Watch?
Oh, yeah. That's very true. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. Plague Marines.
They're hard. Now they're hard with 1
That's
wound.
2 niggles in one list.
They're hard to shift, and they only have 1 wound at the moment. Now they're going to go up to 2 wounds. I'm just dreading that.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Do you guys? I was reading just 2 days ago the Hammer of Math article by Goonhammer about the Plague Marines, and the math on them is absolutely ridiculous. Like, if you're like, what does it take? And it's something like 40 bolter shots has like a 20% chance of killing 2 or something something ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just like they're just never going to die. How, but it's so hard, right? Because how do you point them appropriately? You can't make them 50 points each.
But I can.
You can't charge
Well, yeah. Games Workshop be like, go away, Chaos.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, they can be as hard to kill as they want to make them, as long as everything's pointed appropriately. That's what people say. Is this rule overpowered? It's like, no, it's not.
The points, though.
The points
undercosted.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, exactly. These guys, man. I'm really not stoked about it. The 2 wounds and the 5-up feel no pain is one thing, but the T5 on top of that is even those brain spanking new shiny killer heavy bolters are gonna not feel that potent.
All my sister army bolters go in them and they drop maybe 1.
Mm-hmm. And then they save that 1 disgusting, so it's a whole another 2 damage you gotta
Well, then you got the strat and the psychic support as well, right? Like, you can mob them up. You can have a 20-man blob at the Plague Marines, right? -1 to hit, and then you make them Cloud of Flies to as well. Like, so you can just protect them until they're actually in the threat range. Then all of a sudden, your army's being grenaded with like 6d6 mortal wounds or whatever,
and then flailed to death in close combat.
Those flails, good lord,
it's gonna be brutal.
Number 1 is apparently Custodian Guards.
Yeah.
Which is, fair enough. They are hard to kill.
They're pretty good.
They're close-ish to Plague Marines, T5.
I'm really not sure whether I'd want to ship the unit of Custodian Guards with Storm Shields or a 5-man unit of Plague Marines. I don't know which one I'm going to try and kill off an objective first.
I think
that's...
It depends what army I'm playing as. If I'm playing as a psychic heavy enough army, I wouldn't mind going against the Custodians as long as they have Sisters of Silence with them.
Yeah.
Because they don't save multiple wounds as well. They only save them on the 6-up. Whereas...
I'm very curious. Talking of points and balancing.
Yeah.
What's the cost of a basic 5-man? Oh, we don't know what the points are yet because they haven't got 2 wins yet.
No.
I really want to do a compare and contrast between 3
Well, we
Custodian
will be able to do
Guards
that
and 5 Plague Marines.
as soon as they release the codex.
Yeah.
No, Space Marine ones and change everyone else along with them.
Yeah. They're going to do the same thing with Space Marines that they're doing with Chaos Marines that they are doing with Space Marines.
Yeah.
With the supplements rather than the books.
I have no idea, to be honest.
They haven't really said anything about it, have they?
No, they just...
Raven Guard is a supplement
Yeah.
now. Space Wolves is going to be a supplement now.
Yeah. Aren't they in...
Are we getting the same thing with Alpha Legion, with Death Guard, which has had its own codex?
Wait, are they actually... Because aren't they all included in this new Space Marine book?
No, I think they're supplements.
So I thought...
Dark Angels and Space Wolves and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
I thought Dark Angels, Space Wolves, and Blood Angels were all being supplemented as well.
Yeah.
Like made supplements rather than their own codex.
Yeah, that was the change.
Yeah, probably.
So I'm wondering if Death Guard and Thousand Suns are going to get the same treatment. I'd assume so.
I don't think so. I think Death Guard's unique
They're
enough.
quite different though, right?
They are quite different.
I mean, they've had their own codex before. I mean, the other ones also had their own codex.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there needs to be
the Thousand Suns differ more or less different to the Chaos Space Marines than the Death Watchers to regular Space Marines.
My personal opinion is GW needs to sort out Chaos's shit because there's so much weird cross interactions between the things. It's too much for me to wrap my
The
head
multiple
around.
demon keywords and the
Exactly.
it's
Nurgle's
so
like
messy.
one of the most abusive ones where the things from the demons works in the Death Guard and vice versa.
Either make it like I think it just needs to be really easy, right? Either go across everything or go across nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just simplify the whole thing. And if it's going across everything, like you can then balance across everything rather than like inner codexes and what a mess.
I think with Chaos, like they tried to do it, and they're like, because it's cool, right? Because to be able to soup, corn bloodletters with world eaters, and then and you want those things, and because you go,
you want
that's
them
fluffy,
together, right?
That's cool. But the problem was is that the keyword, like the crossover keywords, just make it super hard to balance, right?
Yeah,
super hard to balance,
exactly.
and then you end up with a possessed bomb being -4 to hit, and a Lord Discordant -4 to hit, and the possessed bomb's totally untargetable, and you've got random Nurglings in a line of sight blocking thing, meaning that your opponent literally cannot shoot your entire army.
Well, Ninth has fixed that now because you can only stack -1, but.
They had like they have, but like that's where the keywords got to, right? It's just made it super hard to balance.
But there's other things that are still broken. Personally, for me, the way I want to see Chaos done is 4 books for the gods. Each god has a book.
I would love it so much.
Ah, that's a cool idea.
Because then you could have demons supporting your...
Yeah, here's your corn boys with your... And then you could have a little supplement being like word bearers. Hey,
exactly.
Take your pick.
Exactly. The 4 gods. And that way... Because I think the Demon Codex, for one, it just doesn't make sense because they are meant to run together when they don't run together. They hate each other.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's true.
Cool. Have you guys got anything you want to add to this little top 5 list? Mine would be Nurglings.
Yeah, Nurglings, which are grossly undercosted for what they do.
Yeah, I really do want to see that list of nothing but Nurglings.
Valor's Hard Battle Sisters. They will stay somewhere and not be shifted.
Yeah.
Then ignoring Nig 2 is horrific.
Ignoring Nig 2, and you can give them a 4-up and vulnerable as well on top of that.
That's crazy, eh?
You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head. Very
disappointing
manner.
Everyone's like, so wait, let me get this right. You ignore my EP -2, even in close combat. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. As a Drakari player, I'll chuck Grotesques in there. Yes. They're super hard to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They lack the obsec though. They lack the obsec.
Maybe. Yeah, that's true. You might get a new coven soon. Who knows?
The obsec coven.
Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah, cool.
Those are probably the main ones. I mean, regular Space Marine, primary Space Marines are quite hard to move.
Yeah.
You have just have enough of them and the two up armor. No, 3. Sorry, 3 up armor.
I mean, I think Terminators probably deserve a place on here too, just in general, right?
Definitely when they go up to 3 wounds.
Yeah.
I'm not sure at the moment though. They're still pretty squishy.
But imagine though,
I give it to them.
3 wound Terminators, 2 up, 3 up Invan. When you got them Hammer and Storm Shield. Who's going near there? And like White's, who's got Blood Angels have got a heroic intervention strat.
Yeah.
White
Why don't
Scars.
we just make him?
White Stars got a heroic intervention strat as well.
Yeah.
Like there's a few chapters and you just plonk some Terminators on an objective, Storm Shield, Thunderhammer. So they'll be hard to move, and you're not going to want to go near them, right?
Yeah. And I'm so excited. I know I keep saying it, but Black Knights, I cannot wait.
And then there's imagine the same thing, but now the Death Guard Terminators.
Yeah, well.
Oh yeah. Ridiculous.
What else we saw? We saw this boy. So this is the Cadian
action figure.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
It is. I mean, if you ever bought one of those, I think there's 1/6 scale like army men with all the realistic gear.
Yeah.
This company makes those, but now they're doing some Imperial Guard
This
stuff.
is what are they called? Green something Studios. I can't remember now.
Green
Wolf Studios. This is your adult action man.
It is 100% the adult action man. He looks worryingly rendered. You know, it looks like a 3D render, not like a actual physical item.
I think it's just good lighting.
Possibly very even lighting.
Yeah.
Good lighting and maybe like soft. An incredible paint job.
Yeah, I mean, I would have debuted with just the standard guardsman.
You reckon? Just the Lasman?
Just the Lasman. I mean, everyone loves the standard guardsman.
I wonder if this boy comes with a couple of.
Do they though? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if people make heroes out of standard guardsmen. Because I
certainly do.
We've all seen that guardsman do something amazing.
Yeah, fair.
I love a guardsman. Man.
I know. Something about this model doesn't quite feel right to me. I think his chest plate just seems a bit small.
Yeah.
For me personally, but I know. I'd be curious to see what other ones they release. I would love to see a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Old school.
A Cascan.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty rad.
even though they don't exist anymore technically.
That's kind of it. That's all that's really happening.
They haven't really
I feel like next week we're going to have a lot more to talk about.
given us anything else to talk about.
No. Well, they were very, very busy for a while.
They were.
We can give them a wee break.
And we were talking about release fatigue, so
Yeah.
this is the break that we asked for. We asked for this.
We did ask.
We quite literally asked for this.
Maybe they were listening. Maybe they were.
There's that one YouTube channel. We should listen to them.
Yeah.
Or maybe Games Workshop marketing department was like, we've had enough. We're going on strike.
Yeah. We're tired. We want to go home. Chained to our desk.
The hype beast is dead.
Chained to a desk at home.
Yeah. Even worse, eh? All right. Ellen.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about some competitive stuff?
Yeah, I've only got news about one tournament that I could find. The YHP Labor Day GT, which had up to 70 contestants, I think. Interesting thing about this GT is, regardless of all the shit we've been talking about overpowered Space Marines, there is not a Space Marine didn't make the top 3 in this GT. So the first place went to Adeptus Custodes, which had a very different list. Very different from things that we traditionally saw in 8th and any time before that, really, because back then it was just all about the bikes. All about the bike spam. Bike captains, bikes.
Like everything, hey?
Bike everything. So this had triple Caladius grav tanks.
Oh, so this is... Sorry.
It's in the States.
So it's like by Washington. It's in Washington State.
3 Caladius grav tanks, an Ares gunship, which is awesome.
Yeah,
the model
which is the big
really
one,
cool.
right?
Yeah, it's the big one.
The big H.
Yeah. A squad of Quillen's custodians.
So those are the flamer ones, right?
I have no idea. I don't know enough about custodes.
I'm surprised to see them in there because they're sort of like they're a forge world version of the Alaris.
Well, this is a pretty Forge World heavy list.
Yeah.
The vast majority
really
is Forge World.
And I think they have some pretty gnarly flamers on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has the Captain General Trajan Valoris. And it also has Sisters of Silence.
Which is awesome.
I mean, I'm glad to see them. I mean, I think Sisters of Silence are awesome. The only reason I would play Custodes is to have Sisters of Silence.
I think they're real cool. And it lets you go for the anti-psychic secondary.
Abhor the Witch.
Yeah, Abhor the Witch.
Yeah.
Without, losing your ability to like try and take care and
to defend from
psychic powers. Yeah, it's
pretty
cool.
Well, that's the list that won.
Yeah.
I mean, people look at this and like, that's not a traditional list that would win the GT.
That's no bikes.
No bikes. Where's the bikes?
No shield captains
Where's your
on bikes?
Victor of the Hunger Games or whatever they call it?
Yeah.
Blood Games?
Blood Games, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What do you think of the list, Tom?
I think it's interesting that it's come back after, like, because when did the triple Caladius have its surge, right? Where there were all strength 8, -3 flat 2 damage.
Edition, I think.
Yeah, mid 8th, and it was just dominating. But people just go that in and like supered in, and then have that -1 to hit bubble, re-rolling ones to wound with Trajan Valoris or whatever, and that like for 1,000 points, and that would just dominate. But it feels real weird because
it just killed everything.
Because I don't understand how it could get through a GT of that size and not have someone just tag the tanks. Right? There's no screening. What are they doing for screening?
I'm curious about that as well. I'm curious if this list ever went up against like a tooled up Harlequins list, because the haywire bikes would have just
tear them,
dropped every one of those vehicles.
Well, I guess if you're just sitting back behind your like terrain, right? And then as soon as those
Harlequins don't care. They move fast enough to get behind anything.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, very cool. They can flick around.
I mean, Harlequins are a special case, right? Because they move 44 inches and then charge, which is which is basically the entire board. Like they get to choose when to engage, which is cool. But I'm real surprised. I mean, there's lots like without this. Without the screening support, like how do they stop the tanks getting charged and then just shutting the shooting down? They must have played it really well, because otherwise, because you feel like if you're relying on that much firepower, they must have been absolutely decimating their opponents to be able to win the primary or do well enough on the primary, right?
I'm curious about the terrain setup, if there was a lot of cover or not.
Yeah, that's it.
But, I mean, kudos to them for winning with a very different list.
Yeah, a very different list.
Yeah,
I think those
pretty cool.
I actually, do you know what? I think that's what the Aquilon Terminators are for. With those gnarly flamers.
Possibly.
Just sitting in front of them.
Not many of them, though.
You don't need many of them.
Yeah.
You can't kill them. in a round of combat, and they will wreck you consistently.
Fair enough. So second place was what do you call a very traditional orc list?
Yeah, an 8th edition orc list.
Yeah, Gazcool Thraka. Well, I mean that's new, and that's cool.
Yeah, he's probably feeling.
Gazcool's awesome.
Weird boy with all the usual warpath, the jump, that sort of stuff, and 4 maxed out squads of boys. 2 lots of commandos, which have become very popular in orc lists. Meganobs and trucks and a pain boy.
How many trucks? How many trucks?
2 trucks.
2 trucks. That's it.
That's it.
Oh, wow. It's not the buggy spam that we've been seeing.
Again, it's very different.
It's just boys on the floor.
It really is, and especially with the loss of the orcs got really hurt with the loss of the Vigilus, right? Because they lost their shock attack gun, which just invalidated their most common build. And their
best kind of anti-vehicle, right?
Yeah.
One big go. Yeah.
Exactly, and people kept going on about how hordes are dead in
Hordes are dead.
And here's a lot of boys.
I guess if you just overwhelm with one thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You just oversaturate. Yeah. The Tau philosophy.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool list. It's what I would expect to go up against if I was fighting orcs. Which is just a shit ton of orcs.
So we were kind of chatting about this before. Like, do we think that this is the anti-meta list?
Everyone's gonna think it's gonna be a vehicle heavy meta, so they bring everything tooled up to fight vehicles, and then suddenly you're facing up against 100 and something things, and you literally don't have enough bullets compared to their bodies to actually kill them off before the game's over.
Yeah, looking at the list, it looks like they made each one of those units of boys Scar boys, and that makes them strength 5.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So you got what, 120 boys, give or take, all at strength 5, and you got Gazgul there.
Yeah,
that's a lot of strength 5 attacks. That is going straight against the marine, like the supposed marine meter, right?
Yeah.
Strength 5 will change the math on their damage output a lot.
Well, this is the thing, because I've gone up against orcs with my Harlequins, and the problem was, my Harlequin troops could go into a blob with 30 boys and kill half of them, or 25 of them, 25 out of 30. But the 5 left would kill my entire troop, so I would still lose the trade. They're just so hard to kill off.
Yeah. And again,
and it's just weighted dice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Man. It is just Wave Dice.
Yeah.
And the last one was Chaos Space Marines plus Death Guard list.
So this is a real weird one. Because I was expecting to see some Death Guard for sure.
Yes.
But not in this kind of configuration, I suppose.
No. So this one was a detachment of Alpha Legion. And the play company Poxmongers. So there was a Chaos Lord, Sorcerer, 2 lots of Chaos Space Marines, and 3 lots of Poxwalkers. And then this is where the heavy hit in the list is 2 squads of 15 possessed, and 2 Plague Bear Crawlers. I think there was a Mortarian in the list as well.
Were the possessed in the Alpha Legion detachment, or were they in the Death Guard?
I think they were in the Death Guard one.
Yeah, because that Alpha Legion thing's kind of dead now with the cap at -1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I can't comment too much about it because I don't know Chaos that well. I just know possessed bombs are a thing, and they are very hard to deal with.
Yeah, you can kind of see how this would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sorcerer had Prescience and Warp Time, all the good stuff. Plague Crawlers are really, really good. And Poxwalker is just to hold objectives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
It is what it is.
Looks like they
got. All right, so that rounds it up. I mean, so Space Marines not in the top 3. That doesn't mean that they didn't do well there. I don't know what the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th could have been all Space Marines for all I know.
Yeah. Sorry, Tom, you were going to say something.
No, just looking. They've got the Feculent Nailmaw there as well. But
the old tree.
Yeah.
So seen the tree in a while.
Well, because the the tricky stuff about the possessed, right, is like yes, they're resilient, but they you need a delivery system, right? And so having that there gives them the just makes them a bit faster, and they can advance and charge, right? If you trail them back, it is interesting though. Like those big 15-man squads, I reckon be a lot harder to deal with that size squad and stretch them out and work on your auras and stuff like that when you've got your coherency issues.
Yeah, exactly.
I really wonder if one of them got outflanked.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Did you say it was Mortarion?
I thought so.
Yeah, there's Mortarion. Yeah,
Mortarion was there as well, which you don't normally see anymore.
No, so this is I'm fairly certain he would have been outflanked, but
Mortarion.
Yeah,
potentially,
because otherwise he'd just be dead.
It's a lot of CP to outflank him, eh?
It is, but it's better outflanked than dead. But I mean, yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. That's the one thing you can decide when you get to the table. If you realize the opponent doesn't have that much in the way of heavy shooting, start him on the board.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to save your possessed, because if Mortarion's on the board, Mortarion's going to get shot at, and that will take firepower away from the possessed.
Yeah, he's the biggest counterfix there is.
Exactly. I mean, there is 3 hard to shift targets to kill.
Yeah.
In that list, which is they got
the Plague Burst Crawlers as well.
Yeah, those are hard to shift.
Well, the interesting thing is you've got these these 3 big resilient things that are coming at you, but at the same time you've still got all those Poxwalkers hanging at the back, sitting on those objectives that you've got to kill off as well.
Exactly.
Like there's no good target here.
No.
Actually, maybe just works a bit like a threat overload list, right? You've got the Plague Burst Crawlers with the Plague Spitters, bombing it up the field. Real hard to deal with, but can put out a bunch of damage, and don't care if they get charged anymore because they can still just flame you in combat, right? Yeah. And you got you got the 2 things of possessed, and you've got warp time to move Morty to move Morty around. Morty's got miasma and blades, and so and you've got the tree there to to help you with the speed. So actually, you can just push forward, and your opponent's just like, whoa, actually.
What do I do?
Yeah,
where do I put it? Yeah.
And if they go first, one of those 3 things are going to be in your line.
Yeah.
And charging you. Turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then once your opponent's like, well, I don't know what to do. And you're like, cool, that's cool. My Poxwalkers is just going to sit on all these objectives.
And just rack me up points while you're dealing with this fucking triple threat in the front line.
Yep.
Yeah, it's... I really like the way this slug theoretically functions.
Is it fast
This is my
as well,
favorite
right?
of the 3. Yeah, this is my favorite of the 3 for sure.
I think I like them all. There's a part of something of every one of these lists, which I think is awesome. And it's not one of these ones like, oh, that's cheesy as fuck. It's just like, oh, that's awesome. Because they brought Sisters of Silence. They brought a shit ton of boys. And then this list, they've, brought Mortarion, which, kudos for bringing Mortarion. And he's like, everyone's saying that, the Smash Brothers aren't competitive anymore. Don't bother bringing them. Magnus is not worth taking. Mortarion's not worth taking. And here's a list proving otherwise.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Tom, you were saying that we don't really know, like it's kind of, I know, and this is a fairly like, and we kind of heard this everywhere, but like the list building explosion that is going on at the moment, it's almost kind of like a delayed fuse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no tournaments happening because of, there's a few tournaments happening, but far less than usual because of COVID. Thanks, COVID. And it kind of feels like, because ITC was all about primary, secondary, right? And they ignored the Games Workshop missions. But now all of the secondaries are different. The primary is very different. There's no kill more, which was a huge part of ITC, and that was the main tournament circuit, right? Then you had the ETC over in over in Europe, which was a combination of Games Workshop missions, where they had both regular like hold type missions, and also they comboed it with the cards. But now we've moved to there's no kill more, so you can legitimately take an army that wins a game and not kill anything in your opponent, right? Yeah. Because you like all you have to do is make sure that you're on all the secondaries. You control, on all the objectives. You control the objectives, and you take secondaries that don't require you to kill anything. And actually, you could. I mean, as long as your army could tank it, you can just win without killing anything, and that's really different to any of the missions that there were before.
Yeah, I think you can actually build lists which are totally opponent independent. So you can score all your secondaries independent of your opponent, which is arguably the best way to do it if you can manage it. Because
if you can list it that way, if you have the option to,
Looking at the secondaries, looking at the secondaries as well, I'll be interested to see how quickly they change them, because it feels like there's a few secondaries that will be taken in probably 70% of games, like the new recon, right?
Yeah. That's taken all for it. I give that more than 70%. I think that's like 90%.
There's that. But then there's deploy scramblers, which is basically, as long as you've got an infantry unit that you can outflank, and your opponent can't screen out their entire deployment zone for the entire game, which is not very many armies can do that, then that's also like a very simple, almost guaranteed 10 points, and that kind of sets the standard. And so it's like if you can't guarantee yourself 10 points from a secondary, then there are secondaries that you can pretty much just guarantee 10 points. So that just totally invalidates about 1/3 or half of them. Right?
Yeah, and then of course we've got our own chapter specific ones, or chapter faction specific ones that are going to be coming in our codexes as well.
I really hope Games Workshop is super careful with those secondaries, right? Because if you look at the cards from last edition, like Thousand Suns had the one where they could get 12 points from casting all their psychic powers. And you're like, well, that doesn't seem fair. Exactly.
Well, and Tau had a card which, if they could cast psychic powers, they could get points. But this is the thing. I think I've been vocal about this in every podcast, and if we have any loyal listeners, they're probably sick of hearing it. Where I think this is a bad idea. I don't think having codex-specific secondaries is a good idea, because it's too easy to screw it up somewhere along the way.
What might be interesting?
Too many pressure points.
What might be interesting, right, is yes, they introduce codex-specific secondaries, and they've got the mission-specific secondaries and stuff like that. But actually, they keep the codex-specific secondaries out of the GT packs, right?
That's right.
Because this is the first time ever that they've been like, look, it's basically the same secondaries, but we've tweaked some of the scoring for balance.
Yeah,
like the Titanic one, where it was 10 and 15 for killing 2 knights or whatever. Now it's 10, 12, and 15. So I mean, it's still good, but to max it out, you still have to kill 3 knights, which is no which is no joke. So they do have the option there, and tournament organisers will also have the option of excluding those book specific secondaries, which will be cool because you could still play them day to day, and they could be fluffy and fun.
I wouldn't mind if they were fluffy and arguably worse than the ones in the book, but you take them for flavor's sake.
Yeah. I don't know. I think just like place test it and change it if it doesn't work.
You have a lot more faith than I do.
I don't know if it's faith. I think it's just like I don't
It's where they're going, right?
Necessarily. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with like things being kind of broke and then getting shifted back, because I think that changes like the way that we see lists and the way that the game is played, and that's what kind of keeps the meta fresh.
Yeah.
And I know like in short term, like, man, this like sucks, this thing is broke. But it will get corrected.
It's true.
It's just the time that it takes to get there, right? So digital codexes, guys. Digital codexes.
Don't talk about the app.
Codex.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the app.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people complain about these things, and it doesn't actually affect them. They just like to complain about it.
And no one likes to complain as much as 40k players like to complain.
It's like 50% of the hobby.
The thing that I really like, Games Workshop hired the guy who ran Nova as their guy to like to build their competitive scene for Games Workshop, and they did such a good job on it that they convinced ITC to be like, you should use our missions, and ITC was like, yeah. we will. Right,
that's pretty cool.
Like it's really cool, and they've realised that actually there's a huge market there. This is where there's opportunities for professionalising the game, and but the thing that's stopping people, from stopping every army from going to a tournament is balance, right? Mm-hmm. And if you want to play in a tournament, but if you've got a non-meta army, you just go, well, I don't want to go and just get stomped 6 times in a row. So if they can make it more balanced and they can make the codexes balanced, then more people go, more people buy more models, more people expand their armies. It's all in Games Workshop's interest, and it's better for the game, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do think that GW have sort of stuffed up the launch of 9th a little bit. Personally, I do think that all the codexes should have dropped real fast.
You're dreaming, mate.
Yeah, I know I'm dreaming.
See those profits drop. No way.
No, but if they can just keep releasing little books like the mission packs every 2 months, then they still have other ways to make revenue.
But then we're just going to have book blood all over again.
How long was it for 8th? 2 years before everyone had a codex, yeah?
Well, it depends if you include the index.
Roughly, yeah.
Because the index 8th launch with everyone starting on the same.
Yeah, that was the reset.
Until the first codex dropped.
Yeah.
But it was it was near. Well, Sisters, I guess, is 2.5 years, but.
Sisters is the new book.
Yeah, no, Sisters is the first 9th codex. It's
even the logo.
The logo is the new logo. So I'm not looking to see an update for a hell of a long time.
So maybe it's 18 months. So we're getting 2 codexes every two months or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I wish it was 2 codexes every month, just to get it out there.
Dreams are free, mate.
I know.
So, Chom, you are organising your very first tournament at the moment.
No surrender. Booyah.
No surrender. I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to kind of pick your brain a wee bit and tell us maybe how the experience is going for you.
What made you decide to run a tournament?
That's a good question. I actually put my hand up like a year ago. And just chatted to a couple of the Christchurch Wargaming Club committee members and was like, how do I go about running a tournament? And they were like, oh, you can run this one. I was like, oh, okay, great. But it was like, I've been playing Blood Angels. So I got back into the hobby early into 8th after a 19-year hiatus, and then picked up Blood Angels, one of my old armies, and I'm not a great painter, and the thing that I really found interesting was the play and the tactics and stuff like that, and so I immediately enjoyed going to tournaments, and because I was playing Blood Angels and it was 8th, I just got stomped. but it was still fun. And they got nights and stuff like that, and more interested in, more bat reps. And I started following the international meta and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, I'd like to see if I could run a tournament, because I think in Christchurch, like the tournaments we go to, and then we run, are real cool, but they are quite different from like the ITC, where everything's a bit more standardized, and there's been a big push overseas over the last couple of years for standardized terrain, and we've started seeing a couple of events like pay like actual prize money and stuff like this, and so I was interested to see if I could make something like that work here.
We have a lot of really fantastic, like fluffier, I guess maybe not fluffier, but like more narrative-based sort of tournaments, like custom mission packs and fun kind of like rules and stuff that you can kind of build like a whole tournament experience around. But we've never really had like sort of a consistent like ITC scene here.
But I just wanted to, kind of throw out something different there. I'm not saying that every tournament should be standardized and standardized terrain and stuff like that, because it get boring pretty quick. No but I just wanted to try and do something like that, because I think for for me the a lot of the enjoyment of the game comes from, I think that like the things that I look for in a tournament is like I want it to be fair, and I want it to feel like it's fair. And the things that I think that you need for that is you need terrain balance, you need scoring balance, and you need to play with the enjoyment of your opponent really at the forefront of your mind. Because this game is not a game of chess, right? It's an imprecise game, and there's a lot of opportunity at tournaments to have feel bad moments, right? Where you're having a dispute about whether something's 5.99 or 6.01 inches away, and that stuff is not fun, right? And also that's not how the best players win, right? If you look at the top international players, they're not arguing over distances. They're saying, my unit moves here. This is my plan. And they're legitimately beating each other over tactics. So that's why I wanted to have to see if I could organize a tournament that had that feeling of fairness, that it was fair at the outset, and that you didn't just like roll bad for deployment and then you go, oh well, I'm going to get tabled turn 2.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's not fun. Right? That's not fun. Tournaments should be fun. At the end of the day, we're rolling dice with plastic space dollies. So.
Yeah.
Were you a bit nervous going into this? Did it feel like a big kind of leap for you?
Yeah, it did. I think I probably left it a bit late, but I did say that I couldn't organise a tournament in the first half of the year because my second child was born in January, so I was like, the first 6 months is definitely out, and it turns out the first 6 months was actually the first. It turns out it's going to be like the first, 20 months, but that's fine.
That's a fair excuse.
When you got one kid, it's 2 adults on 1. That's fine. When you got 2 on 2, it's fine until there's any task that needs to be accomplished. As soon as there's any other task, like you're outnumbered. You're like, I think I was quite nervous because I am appreciating that I'm doing something that it doesn't feel like we've done before. Or it's something that's different, right? That might be new to people. And I'm really conscious that the goal is for people to have a fun time playing 40K, right? And I really so I'm really trying hard to make sure that the focus on competitiveness and tactics and stuff like that is and scoring and stuff like that is balanced by let's all just try and have a good time. And have a laugh and avoid any feel bad moments that we can. So I'm nervous to try and get that balance right, especially because as you said before, Kit, a lot of the tournaments that we run are more they have custom missions and custom scoring and custom secondaries and all those kinds of things, and I'm trying to do this is the stock standard Games Workshop tournament pack, standardized terrain and stuff like that. So there's a lot less fluff in this tournament than other tournaments. So I'm really trying hard to make sure that people will bring like a good culture and good spirit to the game.
Yeah, and the fun doesn't get lost in the
that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So while you've been on your wee journey, is there any like advice you might have to share with anyone else who is thinking about starting a tournament or getting into it maybe later on this year when things kind of open up and chill out a wee bit?
Yeah.
If that happens this year.
Start earlier than I did. start your planning earlier. I think it'd help. I'd been thinking about all the stuff that I wanted to do, but it's different when you're like, so now I need to write this down. And put it out there and try and get people enthusiastic about it on social media. Give yourself enough time, right? I think if I'd done it again, I would have tried to have the player pack up a month or more ahead, maybe like 6 weeks ahead of the tournament, because a 2-day commitment is a big commitment for a lot of people, and if they're not planning on it, then it can be difficult for them to get the time off. And then I think the other thing is as well, like if you're trying something new, the other thing that I'm real conscious of is lack of testing. I wish I'd had more time for testing.
Well, you've been pretty open with everything that's like, been out on the socials and stuff, especially like more recently as we get closer to it. And you've been really good about like getting feedback as well on the player packs and what's come up, and everyone's sort of been chipping in and giving their kind of 2 cents and stuff.
So when you say testing, do you mean testing the missions that you put in, or testing your own army?
No. I'm not playing, but I mean, like,
it's all just a ruse. I'm getting my fucking gold medal belt anyway.
And by the way, last minute edition, Drew Carey all get 2-up invulnerable saves. There we are.
Getting everything. Rerollable.
Yeah. Well, obviously. I'm in testing of the missions, and particularly the terrain, because I think the terrain in Ninth just feels like it's the biggest thing that's changed for Ninth.
It's quite daunting, hey.
Yeah. And the terrain that we have at the club, if you don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to spend on kitting out, 20 tables in exactly the same terrain and stuff like that, then it's like, do we have enough terrain to have a good game? I think we do. We're really lucky to to be part of a club that's got a big terrain catalog. But trying to balance that terrain and make sure that each table is balanced and has a semi-standardized layout and stuff like that is tricky, and also just like play testing and making sure that the mission or that the terrain is appropriate for the mission.
And
I think that's the thing, because it's the missions that determine who wins and who, it's the missions that normally determine who wins and who loses. With the way that you've got the primaries and the secondaries are all standard across the missions, you've got the opportunity for balance, and the terrain is the thing that can let you down, right? Because what you don't, so I've set goals like there should be enough terrain for most armies to hide most of their army first turn, so that you don't get alpha struck. Because if you get alpha struck, then that's a feel bad moment, right? Yeah. Like no one likes to go into a game and lose the roll off to go first and then be like, oh, the game's over, So I think I would just give yourself more time. Just give yourself more time for testing.
Please, more time.
Yeah, and then you also won't have your wife on your back being like, "Why are you on your computer writing about Warhammer for the 4th night in a row? You need to do the
dishes." What I'm just kind of curious. What made you kind of finally make the decision to kind of jump from talking about doing it to doing it?
I thought it would be a good challenge, and I feel quite lucky to be part of the club. and it was another way of giving back to the club. So I feel like I've been part of the club for 2.5 years, give or take, or maybe 3 years now, and it's kind of, I've been there enjoying the terrain, enjoying everyone organising events, that I go to, and this is my way of giving back to the the club. Yeah. So,
wholesome. Very wholesome.
Yeah, wholesome.
The CWC, for anyone who doesn't know, the Christchurch Wargaming Club is I think, I'm sure we've said this before, but I mean, I don't have a whole lot of frame of reference, but from what I see around in socials and stuff, seems to be like a pretty special little community. Hey?
Yeah.
Like we don't really have any of that guy. Like everyone's super lovely. Yeah. Everyone's really chill.
I've been to quite a few of the tournaments, and I've always had a good time.
Yeah,
always.
It's kind of it's
we don't
kind
lose.
Of an incredibly wholesome and wonderful community. I'm a real big fan.
Yeah, it is nice. And then I had a secondary goal, which is, when ITC was running, and we typically played Games Workshop missions, week to week and stuff like that, and no one really played ITC, and I felt that I enjoyed games that were more balanced, right? And it felt like the ITC rules were more balanced than the Games Workshop rules for a long time. And so I was interested. So if Ninth hadn't come out, this tournament would be an ITC tournament. I would be running the straight ITC rules. And so I had this, this this other goal of trying to introduce or encourage ITC, but it wasn't really ITC. It was just trying to encourage more balance in the game. And again, even before Ninth came out, it was like, we'll run ITC and we'll have mirrored terrain and we'll have, balance and stuff like that, so that it becomes more about the tactics and less about the dice. That was the goal. And we can get out there and because we've got enough terrain to make it happen. And I think people just maybe hadn't had the experience. But it feels like, to me anyway, it's a better way to play 40K. Play with balance, play with fairness, and play with intent. And if you can get all those three things, I think we could keep. It would help us keep growing the community.
Yeah, only good stuff. I guess the final thing is, would you recommend it?
Running a tournament.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we should probably ask you this again afterwards.
Yeah, I was just
planning for it at least.
I was just going to say, if everything goes well, yes. If everything goes down in flames, no. There's a few that there's a few things I'm worried about. I'm using a website for the scoring and the pairing and stuff like that, which looks really cool. But today I went to log in and just got a timeout error, and I was like, "Oh!" And then I checked on, "Is it down?" I was like, "Yep, it's down." I'm like, "Oh!" If that happens on tournament day, it was only out for 10 minutes or whatever. But if that happens on tournament day, then what happens?
10 minutes is long enough to get a panic attack about that sort of stuff.
And the other thing I'm hopeful is that we get enough people to make it a good event. So I'm a little bit worried that we won't. If we get 14 people, which is what the people who say they're going on Facebook at the moment, that will be fun. But 14 people, 4 rounds. There's the chance for a bit of skew there, rather than it being may the best man win. Type thing.
You want a bigger sample size.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and it's kind of just an experiment in a way. You got to do control groups. You got to make sure that the terrain's in control, that the rules are in control, that the only variable is your players, right?
But I desperately want to get to this tournament. I'm trying my damnedest to get my sister's army up to scratch for it. I've been spending today building more sisters.
More sisters. Always more sisters.
To get to 2,000 points.
Yeah, I haven't been doing anything. I started a new job 2 weeks ago and I haven't blinked. but it's been good.
A new job. That's the perfect time to just like take your painting to work because they're not going to be. They're not going to like. No one's going to be checking.
I got to be gone.
Well, like because if you don't output anything, it's fine because they go, "Oh, it's just a new guy. He doesn't know what he's doing yet."
Oh no! I'm like running a little department. I have no time for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. That's different.
Yeah. No, lots of eyes all the time. Do you want to do a wee plug with dates and stuff?
Oh yeah, so No Surrender happening the 26th and 27th of September. So in a few weeks, registration deadline is currently the 15th, and list submission deadline is the 18th. So that's kind of next Tuesday and then next Friday. We might push the registration to the list submission. So just to give people a little bit more time. It's $25, cheap as chips. That's way cheaper than most of the tournaments. Way cheaper than most of the tournaments that are happening in the North Island.
Yeah.
And all proceeds are to prizes, apart from a little bit of money for the club. So come along, get down, play a balanced game, play with intent, play 40k the way it's meant to be played.
Come up from Dunedin, come down from Wellington, stay in Auckland. Yeah, the rest of you. Yeah. Come have a good time.
Come to Christchurch, the city of no COVID. And the other thing I just want to say is thanks very much for having me on the podcast. Love what you guys are doing.
No, it's good having you.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's really cool to have our own local podcast champions. Really awesome.
Well, hopefully it can become more of a consistent thing now.
Yes.
So it's been a little bit patchy the last couple of weeks.
We've had a teething problem.
Yeah, have we what? And just time management issues, but I think we're there now, so we should feel good.
Fair enough. No, that's great.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, team.
Thank you.
Jump on the Instas and the Facebooks and the YouTubes and all that kind of stuff. Likes and shares go a long way. We love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
See ya.
Cheers.
Job done.
That's good.